The lives of sex workers in this country have been thrown into a dark alley too long in this country. I say now, I say here, I say today. We legalize prostitution for the safety of the sex workers and the community of our members, our sons, and our daughters that all live in this country. Through great care of this topic and due diligence for you as an audience member, I have done extensive research to come through the information gathered here for you today. Through peer-reviewed studies, I have found the statistics that I have needed to prove my point, and with modern statistics as well, I have found the data that proves my points. From marriages to raging divorce rates, and with the history of prostitution in this country and the presence of it in the history of our world, I will show you today why we should consider legalization. The divorce rate in the U.S. is 2.9 per 1,000, according to American Psychological Association. Infidelity accounts for 20 to 40% of that, with the divorce rate of 50%. So I would argue that giving marriages or giving couples within a marriage somewhere to go and legally take care of their sexual needs would lower the divorce rates and create a happier place for the children. So with the divorce rate being at 50%, there is a country called Switzerland that has a divorce rate of 40%, where legal prostitution is granted. Now, the average breakup there for them is 15 years, but with the legalization of prostitution, I'm sure it gives a ground for couples to find a way to work out their problems. So within Switzerland, they have brothels, which essentially just goes from a reception area into studio apartments, which then gives them the ability to regulate who's coming in, who's going out, and then that gives them the ability to standardize testing and make sure that there are places available for this to happen. So now back within the history, it has not just been a modern day thing. Street corners are not the only places that people like to work. The earliest records of this occupation dates back to the Sumerians, which they had recorded at 2400 BE. So this has definitely been something that has been a occupation for people for quite a long time, and if they're able to make the money that they need to live their life, who are we to say that that occupation cannot be upheld? A quote from Senator Jessica Romas: "This is the oldest profession, and understanding that we haven't been able to deter it or end it in a millennium is," end quote. That's one thing we have to take into consideration, that this has been going on for longer than any of us have been alive, our grandfathers or mothers, or anyone further in our ancestry tree that we would even know of. This has always been an occupation, so why not make it legal for people here today? We do have a promising start, though. Nevada is the only place that is legal for brothels, that is. And they allow counties more than 700,000 residents can open a legal brothel, and that is a licensed brothel. And yes, the condoms must be used, and the sex workers must be tested for STIs weekly. Now, we all know about the black market and how it has produced some of the worst crimes and ways for criminals to make money. Now, human trafficking has definitely been one of the major ways that we've been trying to cut down on, their income coming in. And we definitely learned our lesson already with, the prohibition of alcohol, the decriminalization or the criminalization of abortions, And of course, even marijuana, since it's been decriminalized, has dropped off from the income of these so-called black market leaders. And the one thing we do need to consider is these are consenting adults. I mean, if you put a video camera inside a room and pay someone to have sex with you, now you're making pornography, but it is not considered illegal. But you take that video camera out of the way and you want to have sex with some person and they're willing to take money for it, whatever the reason may be. Now, is that considered a crime just because you're getting paid for your acts? I don't think so. The biggest thing we have to remember is it's about the safety of the employees, it's about the safety of the workers, and having a legal space would raise testing rates and also lower the STI in this country, because without proper testing and without due diligence on cutting back on the so-called corner workers, we wouldn't have anywhere for them to go in and even know if what you're getting into is going to be safe. Now I've told you the history of prostitution and where it takes place and how it stands today. But with the severe divorce rate data, and you can see that within this country it would give a lasting effect for the people that are here today. This profession deserves a safe place for people to work, because then again, they are people, and having someone somewhere that they can feel safe and not be afraid for their lives, for what they want to do in their life, to pay the bills, to put food on the table. We need a safe place for this to take place, and the legalization of prostitution would coincidentally lower the trafficking and bring together the safety of our community.